Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
Ofori-Atta agrees to Akufo-Addo's advice to come home. Now, it's not a secret now that the all-white wearing, Bible-quoting Ofori-Atta is in the grips of the law in America. Ofori-Atta was finance minister for the Republic of Ghana for at least 7 solid years. Ofori-Atta is a man who the Ghanaian authorities refer to as a fugitive, somebody running from justice. We have had people picket right at the American embassy for 2 days running now. Arise Ghana. And the message is clear. Ofori-Atta must come home. Ofori-Atta was sick 2 times in his tenure of office. The first time, my brother, my sister, he was flown all the way outside this country when he suffered from COVID. And on arrival in America and England, where he was seeking medical attention, he asked Ghanaians to pray for him. And God listened to the prayers of Ghanaians. He returned home. And then his own uncle, his own cousin, got angry with him. They wanted him out. Ken must go. Now, the economy started going truly bad, terribly bad. His first tenure of office wasn't too bad, but the second tenure was so abysmal. It was disastrous. And everybody wanted Ken out. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo wanted him out as well. Gabi Asari Ochridako, a cousin of the president, also spoke to Ofori-Atta and told him, Ken, in fact, you are not feeling too well now. Please exit so that another person will take over. Ken got angry with this guy and stopped talking to him for over 1 year. Ken was angry with Nana Akufo-Addo as well for even listening to that kind of conversation that he, Ofori-Atta, must exit. He drove straight to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's house and he told him, I hear you are telling people that you want me to hand over the finance ministry to another man. I will need you to remember what we did when we came into power. Remember, Setepe was going round saying that he was wondering how your government was even going to be able to pay salaries. It took me, Ofori-Atta, to rally round, talk to my friends on the Wall Street to be able to get money. Remember when we needed money in order to deal with the banks and the banking system. I was the one who rallied round and you were even surprised. If anything at all, if you want me to exit, not this disgracefully, and Nana Addo asked him, but this is not disgraceful. You have played your role so well. You have done very well. But at this point, it looks like every Ghanaian is saying the economy has taken a downward trend. Please, I think it is just good advice that you exit while the applause is the loudest. Ken took offense and said, not this way. You must stand by me. When everybody says sack him, you must stand by me. And when everywhere goes calm, then I can decide to move on. That will be honorable, rather than sacking me in the middle of all this noise. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo listened to him. But this was what broke the camel's back. Come here! Now hear this. Now Ofori-Atta, my brother, my sister, was in trouble. What kind of trouble was it? The MPs at the time, the NPP MPs, all gathered and they were singing one chorus: Ken must go. Ken must go. And it looked like the president had no choice but to do the bidding of the MPs who were threatening that if Ken did not go, they would not do government business. Nana Addo had to beg them and tell them to at least allow Ken to read the budget and do a few other things before exiting. It was all to buy time for Ken himself to save his face before going away. And it happened. Ken was promoted. Many Ghanaians were not happy. So when Ken finally left office, a couple of days before the new government was sworn in, we were told, he knew that he was not coming back. One, he was angry with the president of the republic for daring to suggest to him that he should vacate his post for another man to take. And two, his own cousin, Gabi Asari-Ochridako, also seemed to put family ties away and stand with the institution, the nation, and ask Ken to honorably take a back burner. Ken wasn't happy, so he left. When he left, it didn't take long before people started clamoring, asking for Ken to return home. The OSP wanted him to come home to face justice. The OSP was still talking with the lawyers, and all of a sudden, he was declared a fugitive to the chagrin of the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta. And Ken said, you see what they are doing to me. They are talking to my lawyers. They know where I am. They know I am sick. But they have still put me in the list of fugitives. They want to disgrace me. I won't come home. Come here and dash it away. Now, my brother, my sister, Ken Ofori-Atta made up his mind that he was not coming home. One, he was angry with Nana Akufo-Addo for daring to even think of replacing him, reshuffling. He was angry with Gabi Asari-Ochridako for daring to come to him and ask him to exit so another man would take over. So when he left, he cut all ties with these two very important people in our politics, and he decided to live in America. The rest is history. When we wanted him to come home, finally, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and all the institutions necessary in this case had to come together and force Ken to return home. And when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo realized that it was so heated, everyone was pointing fingers at his government and also at Ken Ofori-Atta, he decided to fly to the United States of America to meet with Ken Ofori-Atta. Come here! And when he arrived, he went straight to Ken and he told him, my brother, the way Ghanaians are speaking ill about you is not good, and I know you are innocent. Come home so that you can face justice. Come home, defend yourself, because we know that you are without blame. Please come home. Nana Addo used this as an opportunity to patch up with his own cousin. And what happened? They sat down together, and Ken told him point blank when Nana Addo visited him in America, I will only come home, and I will come home only if I get my residence in America. That's what Ken told Nana Addo. I will come, but I don't trust this government. I'm not afraid of prosecution. I am only afraid of persecution. I want to go home, but not without my American papers. Wow. Let me get my papers. And once I get my papers, I will voluntarily come home. My brother, my sister, he waited and waited to get his papers. There were two ways he could have had his papers. Trump had his golden card, whatever, paying between $500,000 American dollars and $1 million American dollars. Could give you that card, let alone $5 million American dollars. And Ken could afford $5 million American dollars. And I'm telling you things deep. Remember where you heard it first. My brother, my sister. Now Ken Ofori-Atta waited and waited whilst the OSP continued backing. Oh, red alert, yellow alert, green alert. Oh, we are looking for Ken, fugitive, non-fugitive, immigrant, non-immigrant. All the jargons were flying in our faces. And we heard that. Ken was making plans to get his papers. The doctor had passed him. He should go home and recuperate. But he was waiting, not for his doctor's advice anymore, but for his American papers. He certainly wanted to return home, but he wanted to be able to get the American papers before returning home. And I will tell you what that will mean to Ken. My brother, my sister, now watch this. As Ken was waiting for his papers, and the papers were delaying, he decided to let his son file for him. And his son truly filed for him. And we told you the whole story, so we are not repeating it. When his son decided to do it for his father, it didn't take long. Bam! Eyes was on him. FBI and all the other agencies, 5 in number. They arrested him because the Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Republic of Ghana had done his own gymnastics around the American authorities and initiated a certain forcible removal of Ken Ofori-Atta from the American jurisdiction. Wow! And he got the authorities to do same. They latched on to Ken Ofori-Atta, picked him up, and his lawyer said, oh, he's almost getting his papers. His son is here. But he doesn't have the papers. Right now, he must go home. My brother, my sister, it was then that Ken Ofori-Atta realized that maybe he should have listened to the advice of his cousin, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and returned home whilst they were working to get his papers ready. Can I tell you another thing? Now, Ken Ofori-Atta could have just paid even $5 million to the Trump administration. But his fear was that it will come out that a former minister of the Republic of Ghana, not just any other minister, but the Minister of Finance, had paid that amount of money when his tenure of office was so shaky and embroiled in a lot of controversies, including corruption. He didn't want his name to be in that kind of controversy. So he decided to go through his son. Unfortunately, that takes long. As he was marking time and pussyfooting, waiting for the right time, the hands of ice caught him in the middle of the caboodle. And today, as we speak, he is at the Caroline Detention Center. He is most uncomfortable. We all saw him appear in court yesterday. And he was supposed to be listened to in camera. And that means privately. He wore the prison jacket. And if you look at him properly, You look at his right hand, he's wearing something in there because the weather is cold. I pray this man doesn't die in prison. Mark my words. My prayer is that Ken Ofori-Atta doesn't die in prison. The weather is extremely cold at this time. This guy is not in the comfort of his mansion where he could just jump into any sauna and warm up his body. He is in a detention center. And he has confided in his lawyers that he's most uncomfortable. In fact, and when you look at him, he has aged more than 20 times his age. This is Ken Ofori-Atta. Wearing his prison garments. He never thought that he would do this. My brother, he prefers wearing the American prison / detention garments to wearing the Ghana prison garments. He is in America. Now, what happened yesterday? Come here! Ken Ofori-Atta, overly aging and looking very sickly and confused, with all the money dancing in his accounts. My brother, my sister, does not want to come to Ghana. His lawyers met with the authorities. And what was it about yesterday? They only wanted him to be taken out of the detention center so that at least he could go home on bail. They call it the bond. So that once he gets home, they will continue listening to his case, whether he should go home or stay. But the American authorities, I'm going to tell you something interesting. And remember where you heard it first. Ken Ofori-Atta has demonstrated very bad faith. He was told to leave from July, that he must leave by the end of November. But he refused, stood against American law and advice, and stayed in the country. Despite the American authorities telling him to leave the country. He had options. He could have gone to Canada. He could have gone to England. But his lawyers made him believe that he could stay, fight his case, and also get the required papers and stay in America because his son is in America. This was what he wanted to hear. The lawyers had spoken to him severally to go back to Ghana, and they would make sure that he had a clean passage into the country and everything would be okay. But he didn't want to hear that. And he stayed in America and demonstrated enough bad faith to the American system. Do you think the American system would say, okay, we will still give you that bond that you want, what we call a bail? My brother, my sister, go home whilst we listen to your case. And remember, what they are listening to is not about him coming home or staying in America. It's about him leaving the detention center because he's so uncomfortable. He can't eat steaks, chichinga. He can't eat pizza in there. He can't drink warm Argentine milk. No. He is very uncomfortable. So the lawyers want to get him out whilst he waits for the authorities to decide whether he would go home or stay there. Now, my brother, my sister, he would go back in February and they will listen to the case and finally tell him whether they will allow him to leave the detention center or not. He's been there for less than 1 month. He's going to wait for another 1 month. If less than 1 month has had a toll on him like this, then you can imagine what would happen to him after another 1 month in that same detention camp. Very terrible. Can I tell you more? His real case is going to be listened to in April towards the end. That is when the authorities will now decide whether he goes home or stays in America. April 27. And that's the news card, the court card. It says Ken Ofori-Atta to reappear in U.S. court on April 27, 2026. This is January, February, March, April. If they don't succeed in getting him out of the detention center, to go home and wait till April 27 for his case to be heard, Ken Ofori-Atta will continue to be in that detention camp like a common criminal for all these months. He's going to forfeit his comfort. He won't eat the steaks anymore. He won't drink the warm Argentine milk that is his favorite. He has a special kind of coffee that he drinks. He won't get it in that prison. It is not there. My brother, my sister, and Ken Ofori-Atta gets regular massages. In a week, he gets at least 2 massages. He can't get it in prison. Maybe from a gay guy who will comfortably give him that massage for a fee. In fact, the fee would be in kind. This is Ken Ofori-Atta. Come here! Now, my brother, my sister, this is where the problem is. Now that Ken is going to reappear on the 27th of April, for the final thing to be decided, he has a very good chance of telling the court that he will self-deport. And even with that, they will give him 3,000 American dollars for free. I hear now they have even increased it, at least for him to buy Brudo on the way to come to Ghana. But Ken has told Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that he will never come to Ghana until he has his American papers. And he didn't go to take advantage of the golden key. Or is it a golden card or golden stone from the Trump administration? He could have just paid for it. But he didn't want controversies. Ken Ofori-Atta has paid millions in order to stay in America. He would use his son. And today, our brother, the biggest fugitive in Ghana's history of politics, is here. Is he saying these words to himself? I wish I had listened to my own cousin, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who sat in a plane, flew all the way to America to beg his own cousin. Ken, minim say you are not guilty. Brafie, we are a family of lawyers from Sir Ofori-Atta. Yanana, there's no way we will sit down and watch you suffer like that. Please, come. But remember, there was already bad blood between him and Ken Ofori and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and of course, Gabi Asare-Okyere. And can I tell you one more thing before I go? The ambassador of Ghana to America, his name is Victor Emmanuel Smith. He's a very good friend of Ken Ofori-Atta. He's a good friend of Gabi Asare-Okyere. He's a good friend of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He's from Ebuakwa. Achim, they are friends. Remember where you are hearing this first. My brother, when he decided to go officially to visit Ken Ofori-Atta, he turned that down. That is not news, is it? It's been told several times. But what you don't know is this thing that I'm telling you. He decided that, okay, now I am not going in the capacity of the Ghana embassy I'm coming to you as an Achim brother. I'm from Ebuakwa, just like you. Mi baba srawo, who ya minua. Say who nuya ben. Member, me here, wow. And Victor Emmanuel Smith folded his hands in front of him, the Demrufim, shook his head. I said, well, there's not much I can do. One thing is clear. The Americans, and I'm telling you this in prediction, you can call it a prophecy. If you are not religious or spiritual, call it a prediction. Ken will not be given that bail bond. Two important reasons. One, he breached the American system, the American immigration law intentionally. For us Ghanaians, he can tell us he's sick. But he can't say that to the Americans because the doctors will prove to you that no, you have been cleared. So he's not even talking about sickness now. They gave him the opportunity to self-deport quietly. By the end of November last year, he decided not to do it. He believed in horses and chariots rather than the biblical God that he told us he believed in. That's one reason. Now, the second reason is this. In fact, Ghana and America have a very good relationship. There are some people here who have to be sent to America. Do you remember the Abu Trika case? Do you remember when the Attorney General said, oh, the other two, they can go? And the judge who sat in for the substantive judge said, hey, let the two continue to be here till the substantive judge comes. It's not ordinary. It's a high-profile case. The hands of the FBI are in there. The whole of the American immigration and other agencies are interested in that issue. So if you make a wrong move, trouble. Much as the Attorney General says freedom, nobody wants to annoy the Americans. So Ken is in a very tight corner. I'm sure by now, he wished he had paid for that golden key. Or is it a golden stone? So that, yes, let his name be spoiled. Can I tell you one more thing before I go? We have too much information. Come here! Are you aware that when people were asked to declare their property before joining politics, declare your wealth? Do you know how much Ken Ofori-Atta declared? Over 200 million American dollars. Before he got into politics, he had 200 million American dollar worth of wealth. Remember where you are hearing it for the first time. When it was said, come and declare your wealth before you come into power like Muhammad did. Some people were declaring one house, some 10 cocks, 4 bulls, and a certain motorbike. Ken Ofori-Atta declared 200 million American dollars. He was the richest minister ever in the history of Ghana. Take it or leave it. This is authoritative. Ken Ofori-Atta declared a worth of over 200 million American dollars before he got into politics. He has companies and banks spread across 10 African countries. Data bank. He has banks offshore, onshore. My brother, my sister, This is Ken Ofori-Atta. $5 million American dollars is nothing to him, let alone $1 million. He could have just bought it. But they say, when the monkey is destined to die, all the trees in the forest become slippery. Can I repeat it? When the monkey is destined to die, that day, all the trees in the forest, they become slippery. Healer, heal thyself. Akufo-Addo tried to bring him home. Gabi tried to bring him home. They even begged. Bruh. He said, I won't come till I have my American papers. And the American papers might only chase him to Ghana if he's lucky. Can I predict one more time? They are going to refuse him the so-called bail bond. He will stay there till the 27th of April. And on that day, things would happen. Ghanaians shall jubilate. Is the black pot. A.K.A. Kukushonemo. And here, we speak truth to power.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.